Good evening. Let's see if this is live. We are. Hi. There we go. Just about. A big good evening and welcome. So, if you are catching this live, I'm going to do that a little annoying thing where I'm like, just going to give it a minute. So, if you are watching this back on replay, I'm going to recommend that you grab a journal, pen, water, drink of your choice. I've got a little cacao ready for this evening, and your crystals, your candles, all the things that are going to make you feel flipping fantastic as we come into the lunar new year. We're also in an eclipse. Like, this whole 2025, 2026 energy, don't do things by half. It really, really doesn't. So, may we welcome in the fire. So if you are joining us live, say a huge hello. Let us know how you are. Let me just expand this. Oh no. And there we go. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing. Let's just jump straight in. I can't see if you're live. Facebook does that really annoying thing. But do comment and then I'll check it on my phone shortly. So this evening, we're going to probably be looking at around 30 minutes together. I'm going to do about half an hour. So phone on silent, clear a little bit of space for yourself. And you have no doubt seen the talk about around the fire horse. It is, in my eyes, the first year that on a mass scale, especially over in Britain, I've seen such a rise in really honouring the Chinese New Year. This is something that when I really think back, I'm like, was it when I started to look more into Ayurvedic living? Like, when was this? It was way before COVID when I started to really honour the Chinese New Year rather than the January 1st kind of vibe New Year. And that is exactly why I am running the vision board workshop, not in January anymore. It's this Saturday and it's in alignment with this energy. So if you are coming, fantastic. This is just yet like another step towards what we're going to be discovering, embodying, and then creating. If you haven't seen that that's happening, I'll share the link below. And if you are free this Saturday, and I mean, I was going to say if you're in the UK, we've literally got people flying, catching a flipping aeroplane to come for this. So this is amazing. Then there are just a couple of spaces left ready for Saturday. But let's have a little look. So in a nutshell, what I'm going to be guiding you through this evening is not just what the fire horse signifies for the rest of for this lunar calendar for the rest of the 12 months, but also the shadow side to it. I've been through everything with such a fine-tooth comb over the last few months in preparation for not just this but myself as well, and there is a lot of hype, a lot of talk around it, and it is absolutely a really, really powerful time of year. A really powerful year, in fact. We're back to year one in numerology. The zodiac sign is horse, is the fire horse, but the element that we're under, when we think around the elements, we've got the water, the earth, the wind, the fire. We are also in fire. So this means it's quite rare. We are in a dual fire energy. This means we're in dual masculine energy. We're heavy in the yang. Now, the world is very much steeped and is very, very heavy in the yang energy. So when we think about the fire horse energy, we've seen so much around shedding, almost that image of like stripping it off. This last year has been around the inner workings, really shed. And now we're in the full steam ahead, which is absolutely true. It is fantastic. But my little caveat for this was we only really started to hear, people only really started to talk about the snake energy towards the end of last year. And it was like 2025 has been about the shedding. Now, If you have been on that inner transformational journey, absolutely fantastic. You are just naturally going to be like, this is off and I am ready. Let's go. No doubt when we do that inner work, my hope is we're really embodying and allowing ourselves not just to be running on our adrenals, not just to be hustling and doing and people pleasing and over giving and oversharing and doing all those things that's predominantly in the masculine. We're going to be kind of ebbing and flowing between the masculine and the feminine. Now, and let's hold our hands up with this, if you were approaching November, December time, started to hear more about the wood snake, start to be like, right, okay, this makes sense. Bring on the fire energy, bring on the fire horse energy. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to leave this behind. I am gonna urge you to really do not just dart out of the line. Do not just run head first from tomorrow into this like masculine energy, because we're gonna end up with that feeling like we're on fire and we're running, arms are in the air. What I'm going to be suggesting, and like I say, this isn't just like a quick little Google before jumping on a live. This has been working with women for over a decade, but this last year, seeing the shedding that has been happening and what this energy truly, truly looks like. So let's just jump in, because I don't want this to sound like there's just been so much hype around it. I'm a realist, believe it or not, as well as the spiritualist and all of those things. And the last thing that I want to see is millions of women reaching the mid part of 2026 and just be like, what has happened? We're like, smoke coming off us. Like, what is going on? The more prepared we are to go into this with our eyes wide open rather than the racehorse blinkers, the better. Right? Then we can really, really utilize the power of the jewel fire and recognize how to embody more of that, keep the inner work going. And there's some words that have been coming through whilst I've been sort of in preparation for this. So let me just have a little look first to make sure that this is one that we're actually live. Yes, we are. Oh, I can see all your messages on here. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, amazing. Right. Okay. So I'm gonna keep you here. I just don't want to have myself going blah, blah, on an echo. So, Firehorse. This is all around authentic expression, visibility, courage. It supports independence, freedom, movement. In a nutshell, what we did with the Soulfire sessions into Going Rogue. That ultimate beginning to recognize the parts of ourselves, the identities, the conditionings, the masks that do not fit us anymore, that are causing more harm than good. And you'll know the ones that I mean, because if you've been a part of that journey or you're on your own journey, you will just know what I'm referring to. And if this is new, how this can tend to show up sort of more in the early days is anxiety, feelings of being stuck, like you're wading through treacle, like there's intrusive thoughts, like life can just be exhausting, because when we're masking and we're just going with the flow because we feel like we have to, and we're saying yes when we want to say no, and we're going to do the job that we don't want to do, we're not aligned, we're in the relationships that are no longer aligned, we're hanging around with the people that are no longer aligned, it is flipping exhausting. And our body will begin to respond to those things. So in essence of that going rogue, it weaves beautifully into this Firehorse energy. Fire is the yang, it's the leadership, and something that I've spoken so much about is that emotional maturity. I've called it this year, for me, my word is spiritual maturity, but that emotional maturity, because there's going to be a lot, for a lot of us, some emotional intensity. That is like the yang, the fire energy, emotional intensity. And if you're sat there like, what? Then bear with, because I'm going to be also sharing with you, not just here's some stats and facts you could have just read on a few carousels on Instagram, but what this actually looks like in real time, how to protect your energy. And I'm going to guide you through a beautiful little visualization. So the shadow of the double fire, because like I said, we've been seeing so much around the light side of the double fire, of the fire horse. The shadow of it is this can lead to impulsiveness. That energy, when we're in emotional intensity, it can lead us to not want to sit with discomfort. If we haven't been doing that inner work, and we really can stay rooted and hold ourselves in discomfort, disappointment, periods of transition, periods of the unknown, change, uncertainty, which evolution, that shedding, that's ultimately what we feel. I feel like we sometimes expect the hills are alive with a sound, and we're like running and we've got flowers in our hair, and it's like, and the skin just sheds off. More often than not, I've had times where I'm literally like Gollum. Like, it can feel so uncomfortable at times. But when we move through that, and this is not, we're not fully in Gollum mode all the time when we're doing the healing work. But if you've been or you are on that journey, then right, you'll know, let me know. But often we can be sat when we are doing that, the inner workings, where we're sitting with a mirror and looking at our inner child, when we're sitting with the shadow parts that hide in the shame, where we point the finger to others and actually, right? Those are what I'm referring to with the discomfort. And if we are unaware and we're just like, let's go, we can just be making those impulsive decisions to avoid discomfort. Burnout, ego, reactive decisions as well. One of the things that I so often find myself saying to clients is when we start to have more of that self-awareness, which is key. I have banged the self-awareness drum for a long time, right? In order to not be reactive and be more responsive, where we take a little pause, we take a little sit back, and we say things like, let me get back to you on that. Or let me just have a little, do you know what? Let me just, and we actually give ourselves time to pause imminently. Sometimes we might go back a day, a month, or however long later. But even in those moments when we don't just react and we're just filtering things through, all the old conditioning, belief system, etc., that the ability to be responsive rather than reactive is what we are going to be anchoring into big time this year. One of the other things, I'm just sort of reading through my very messy notes here, higher expression, embodied leadership. Yes. So what this can lead us to, if we recognize the shadow, this is not just about sitting in a corner and being like, right, I don't want to feel like I'm on fire. We can absolutely utilize this energy. I just feel like I wanted to caveat the energy as well, and not just be like off the start line, let's go. And then before you know it, like I say, we're just being reactive, impulsive, and we're going to see egos potential. We're going to see more egos being flared, because when people step into their power and their light, what happens? It can, people who aren't willing to look in the mirror, people who aren't able to see that when we point the finger, there's also a finger pointing back at us, right? That's radical responsibility. That's what this era is as well. Allowing ourselves to take radical responsibility. If there's an apology to be made, let's just make the apology. See how it feels to sit with the discomfort of, maybe we just don't like to be in the wrong and we'll do everything that we can to avoid it. Well, what does that feel like to be okay with that? What does that feel like to be able to lead yourself in your truth? That's embodied leadership. And we're not, like I said, we're not just going to wake up tomorrow and then just be like, embodied leadership. This is the decisions and conversations that we have behind the scenes when no one's watching. Which leads me into, does it? Aligned action and bold self-truth. So that's what we want to be really allowing ourselves to bring more to the table. This is not about always getting it right. This isn't just about taking big, bold risks and saying, screw it. This is about like, what is your truth? fireworks are going off. How amazing is that? Like, what is your truth? Big firework just went off. And what I've written down in big capital letters, which was very strange when it came through because I'd never usually say this, it was know thyself. Know thyself. So when we think about the masculine dual energy, that yang energy, the yin energy, the light energy, is that know thyself. It's the ability to be able to sit and just observe, the ability to be able to, the word that keeps coming through is observe. And that isn't sit quietly, far from, really, with this energy, but it is the ability to self-reflect, to ponder, to not just keep sprinting ahead, right? We want to be like a horse. A horse still has to rest. A horse might sprint, but they don't sprint forever. And I feel like this online space more than ever looks like people are just constantly sprinting or at least running, where the truth is people aren't. They jog, they stop, they rest, they have a Netflix binge, they sleep, they might have a sprint, but it can often look like that. And the other thing to really caveat this energy is when we are seeing a lot of people go, 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 if we are in that place where we're being mindful and maybe taking that little step back because we might feel triggered by something or someone's ego is playing up a little bit, rather than just being reactive, we're going to be responsive. We don't want to be slipping into comparison. If we're slipping into comparison, we are quite literally handing our power out. We might as well just open up the window and just let it be sucked into your phone, let it be, because our ability to think clear just goes out the window the moment that we start to compare ourselves. So human, let me just think, human heart. Right, okay, so we're going to start now. Let me just have a little look if there is any more comments. Let me know your thoughts so far. Let me know your thoughts so far. If this resonates, can I just get like a, yes, my fire is in gentle embers. I love this, Karen. Absolutely love this. So when we think about our hearts, our physical hearts, this is my jam, right? The mind and the heart. I was like, I feel like this is like finally the season for light leadership and self-leadership and just all the things that I've been kind of like teetering on about in the background and people going, what are you on about? Did you know, I was actually reflecting on this the other day, you know, Tony Robbins' son, Jarek Robbins, I went on his podcast as a guest. It went out to 176 countries and my geography was that bad. I legit asked Carl, I was like, I didn't even know that there was 176 countries. This was like a huge deal for me, not for Tony Robbins' son, Jarek Robbins. And it's so, oh gosh, when I look back, when I was interviewed on his podcast, this was years ago, this was like way before The Boys, the topic, when he asked me, what do I want to talk about? The topic was warriors of light, how the world needs more warriors of light. And you know, when you hear something, like I'll be totally honest, like I haven't listened to it back. It came to me the other day where I was like, I have been speaking about this stuff really, really vulnerably, like probably like a little bit ahead of its time, and not in a like, I was ahead of its time, in a, oh, now it makes more sense. But now it's more embodied, which is great. But there were so many times when I would speak about this, because ultimately this is like leadership. This is the year of embodied self-trust, leadership, authentic expression, courage. That's like leadership. This is like, it makes me so happy. This is why this is just a caveat. This isn't like, oh, we want to watch out. This is like, yes, this is our era. Like, you're in this group, this is our era. And coming back to the heart, So the heart's electromagnetic field is 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain's, right? You've no doubt heard me say this a million times. The heart's electromagnetic field spans out and can be felt. This is how we are all intertwined in one giant web, up to 3 feet outside of our body. The higher frequency, as in the higher vibration, as in the more aligned our thoughts are, the happier we are, the more positive, the more anchored, gratitude, health, etc. The higher the frequency, the bigger the expansion. But that can also be said if someone is deep in anger and guilt, like that can be felt. If you've ever been in the parameters of someone who is not in a good place, you can physically feel that. It impacts our hearts. Now, so many of us are empaths. Little show of hands who's an empath. Like, comment below if you're like, yep, empath. Now, our hearts in this era, in this fire horse energy, also if we think about a horse's heart, their heart's electromagnetic field is, I can't remember the exact stat, is so much stronger than our heart's electromagnetic field. This is why humans have such a strong connection and bond to horses. It's our hearts. This is why when we feel deeply in our trust, and just like how many people do we know who just love horses? The moment they're around them, they just go, ugh. It's this intricate web of coherence that happens. The horse senses the groundedness, the steadiness, the calmness, and it loops back around. The same can also be when you have a horse that is like fully in its power, it feels safe, it feels trust, and a human comes towards it, and we co-regulate with those hearts. So the visualization that I'm going to guide you through is like a horse coherent one, like becoming coherent with your fire horse. And I've been so excited to do this when I was like journaling on it. So before we come into that, quick time check. Yes. So when I was reflecting on like, what are the elements that's actually really, because it's all well and good going, here's some of the shadow parts of this and da 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 da. How can I actually like share something that's going to be of benefit, not just information? There's been so much information around this. And one of the things that I am a massive advocate for when it comes to self-leadership, light leadership, whatever you want to call it, all of this energy that has monumentally shifted things for me to become more of a conscious manifester. All of this weaves together to become more of a conscious manifester, to trust yourself, all a part of the bigger picture, to awaken and be more your authentic self. When I was reflecting and breaking it right down, one of the things that landed in, you may have heard me share this before, very similar to know thyself. It goes hand in hand. That is, my word is my law. Now imagine the shift that would happen in your life if you were to begin to practice the art of my word is my law. So what I mean by this is, like, we keep our promises to other people so often. And don't get me wrong, there might be times where you overpromise, and that's people-pleasing tendencies. That can be safety, that can be nervous system. But how often is it that we're the first to get bumped off the list? If something comes up, someone else needs us, we're the first thing that I tend to see happen is our word stops becoming our law when it comes to us. We can keep promises to work, to colleagues, to partners, to friends. We would be there in a flipping flash for other people. We will keep our law. Our word is our law for others. When we start to honor that for ourselves, when we start to truly set intentions and we keep it, we strengthen our trust, our self-trust. We start to lead. Everything that I've just been talking about. So, and then I was like, right, that's all well and good. It sounds great, but how do we actually implement that? What does that really look like? And when I sort of broke it down and reflected on clients and the transformation that comes when we really start to implement this is starting to practice to keep your word to yourself with one thing per day. That's it. Keep one small promise. That's what I wrote down. Keep one small promise to yourself daily. This might be your good old sacred cup of tea. That might be that you're going to go to bed by 11 o'clock. That might be that you're going to choose something nutritious for yourself. It might be that you're going to not gossip today. It might be that you're going to drink your water. You're going to wear more bright colours. You're going to buy yourself some flowers. Like, it could be something so tiny, but it's something for you. I would love to know, what might that thing be for you? If we were just thinking of tomorrow, tonight, if you were to start to practice. Now, I know lots of you are already on this journey, and you might be sat there now thinking, wow, I've done this. I practice this. I'd love to know your thoughts, your reflections on this, because it's all well and good me sitting here saying, my word is my law. Blah, didn't you know what I mean? I practice what I preach. I walk my talk. There are flipping days when it goes out of the window. It is. I'm human. We're all human. But because I have put this as such a priority in my life, there are less days where it goes out of the window than there are days when my word is my law. Whereas it used to be categorically the other way around. And I used to self-sabotage, people please, overgive, bully myself, basically. And when I started to flip that self-trust, I started to gain evidence that if I set my mind to something, even if it is, I'm going to drink 2 of these a day. Even if it is, I'm going to sit and I'm going to journal once a week. It doesn't have to be huge, monumental things. My advice would be one small thing per day and build on that. And if you're already there, what would that look like to anchor in more that your word is your law? So I'm just going to have a quick look to see if we've got any comments before we come into the next part. Oh, we got some more comments. Right. Empath with a capital E. Sam, I hear you. Massive empath here. Right. Talking about not quite being, thanks for talking about not quite being ready. Yes, I've not been feeling quite ready to be a fire horse or a fire pony. Maggie, hear you. I don't know if anyone's seen my story this morning. I was just not feeling fire horsey today. Like, I ended up having to pull a bit of a late one last night. I was in our bed, the boys were in our bed, I was in the bottom bunk and I was in the top bunk. Then I showered and washed my hair, and then next thing I was seeing carousels like, don't wash your hair on Fire Horse Day. And I was like, what? Like, I'm here for all the things, I'm here for all the rituals. But remember, we get to choose. Like, free will, people. And I was like, I am not washing my hair. Like, I needed to wash my flipping hair. And I was like, and then I just, yeah, and it was just one of those. And then, talk about not wanting to read into signs and significant things. I've got a temporary crown on my back tooth. I had some dentistry work last week. Temporary crown on. Now, I'll hold my hands up. As I was saying, I was running a late one in the office last night, and I don't know why, I had a hankering for hot dogs the other day. You know, when you have like your tins in your cupboard that are basically for like apocalypse, should an apocalypse ever happen. And there was a tin of hot dogs, not even like the posh ones in a jar, proper tin, not even a ring pull, tin of hot dogs. And the very humanness that I was last night cracked the tin open, and I was having a hot dog cold out of the tin. And my bloody crown came off. Oh my God. And I was like, what does it mean the night before fire horse energy to have lost my crown? And I was like, oh, flipping serves me right for eating this scabby cold freaking hot dog. Oh God, I'm crying my laughter. So anyway, and then this morning after I'd washed my hair, I was like, well, what is this? But this is us ebbing and flowing with the seasons, with the elements, with the all the calendars, the lunar calendars. We're in eclipse season. I am literally like due my cycle tomorrow. So it was like all the hormones, all the things, the greasy hair, the cravings, and then losing my crown. So there we go. There was the honest truth. Where was I even? I did lose my crown to a freaking hot dog. Wasn't even a decent hot dog. It was a terrible hot dog. So going back to that, so what I did this morning was I checked in with my higher self. I was like, if I was to shift this, what would my higher self, this is just a higher self habit. How would my higher self advise me right now? What would she say? Well, come on. She came roding in on her fire horse and she was like, go and find your brightest dress. Go and find, have I got anything red? I'm not really a red person. I used to be. Red was my favourite colour. And lo and behold, this absolute, can we just take a little moment? It's a charity shop as well. And I'm not even doing a playing it down. Oh, this thing, charity shop, it's 10 years old. I call it treasure hunting. I got it from a charity shop like a few months ago and it was just hanging up in the wardrobe. It felt quite garish. And I was like, higher self wants this dress with a pair of cowboy boots, with a bit of wavy hair, because I just washed my hair, didn't I? My crown was off, the nerve pain. So I did. And you know what? I strutted through town and I felt flipping great. There we go. So there's just a little higher self habit. So one small promise to yourself, that's probably one promise that I have with myself is I do my utmost. And this is, if my clients are watching, there's one who will know this, 24 hours. She will literally say to him, 24 hours, baby, 24 hours. She just gives herself like tomorrow is, she messaged this yesterday, tomorrow is a new day. And it isn't just a tomorrow's a new day and then we're just back on the treadmill. It is like intention. 24 hours, that is the most I'm giving to this energy, this spiral, this whatever it is. And it's not toxic positivity. It is like we've spoke about this. This is like a true anchored in higher self choice. So one of my word is law habits is if I feel myself in a bit of a funk and I've lost a crown to a hot dog, I'm like, what's my higher self going to advise right now? That for me is my word is law. I check in with my higher self and it works. It felt great. So what might this be for you? I do the 24 hours. Yes. Oh yeah. What is it? Chromeology. Chromeology? From the frequency and the vibration of colour. Oh, this lights me up so much. 7-second memo that's, oh yes, right. I love this. Secret app. I think I need to start journaling. Okay. Ruin the year. I've washed my wig, honestly. The things. And there was on the carousel that I saw, people were going, oh my God, how do I retract this? This is it. My year's doomed. And I was like, no. So every day I see 11:11. When I see it, I close my eyes, hand on my heart, run through and who what I'm grateful for 1 minute. Can we just high self habit? Annual leave had 2 lions this week. Lions, not lions. Lions this week. Tomorrow I'm going to read a couple of pages of a book, then get up. Andrea, I love this. Keep them coming. So yeah, just to go back to what Maggie said about not, if you don't feel ready, it would be comparison if we were to start to expect that we're just going to have this rocket fire up our asses and then it's like we're off the start line. It really, really is meeting yourself where you are. And like I say, you would be better to stay in your stable and nestle into the hay and check in with yourself and really think like where am I at with my shedding? Is there something that maybe I'm still holding on to? And this is going to bring us into a question that I have for you. Okay, Where in my life does my fire feel powerful? And where in my life does it feel reactive? So, where in my life does my fire feel powerful? So, I always come back to the wheel of life. So, in the elements, in the segments of your life, if you think about relationships, friendships, career, health, spiritual connection or connection to, connection, environment, those kinds of things, where in your life does your fire feel powerful? I'm going to recommend that we grab the journal. Let's come into this part. And where does it feel reactive? Or where does it feel disempowering? Where are you giving your fire away? And I'm just going to let that land in. Ooh, cacao does not hit the same when it's cold. Where in your life does your fire feel powerful? And where does it feel either disempowering, or it might be just lack of, or reactive? Let's get this down. And then one more prompt. And remember, you can always write this down and then come back to it after. I'm always very, very aware if you're catching this live, it can feel a bit, you might not be able to get it all down. So don't worry, you can always come back to it. What promise to myself have I been avoiding keeping? The best way I would summarize this is where do you make promises to yourself that you just keep overriding? What might those promises be? This all ties so well into New Year's resolutions, goals, that kind of thing. So what promises to yourself have you been avoiding keeping? Notice the wording isn't just, we haven't been keeping. And there's a reason that I chose the word avoid. Because likelihood it's a subconscious thing. But when we don't keep promises to ourselves, when we don't stick to things, it tends to come from that safety. It tends to come from wanting the familiar. So on a subconscious level, we can be avoiding it. So are there promises that you've not been keeping to yourself? You've been avoiding them. And if so, what are they? I'm just going to blow this out. It gets super strong. And this naturally leads into one more question that I'm not gonna hold time for this one. What are the promises, or what is the promise? It can either be one promise, or what are the promises that you want to commit to keeping to yourself? What might that look like? What might that look like? And I would love to know. Let me bring you back up. There we are. Okay. So, we've got more comments. Oh, thank you, Claire. It was so nice to see you today. I feel disempowered when I look back with regret on seeing wasted years, yet I know lessons have been learned from them. And that is such a powerful share. And I can almost guarantee that you will not be the only one. And with that, we can choose. What about if now we were to make a promise to ourselves that we just look forward, that we look back at the things that you have done, the places you've been, the people you've met, the places that you've fallen in love with, the people that you've fallen in love with. And then a promise is to live in the moment with gratitude. There we go. Absolutely. So beautiful, so powerful to live in the moment with gratitude. Yeah, I'm going to carry that one in my heart as well. Thank you for sharing that. So it took me a while to clock a crown meant your 2000 visioning some sparkly spiritual crown. I love that. To be fair, I do have crystal crowns. It's kind of a bit of a thing. I used to wear it. It was probably like I was really tapping into higher self, and we've had them on the retreat. So a crown is something I will often talk about. But yeah, unfortunately, it's the molar kind. So we are now going to be coming on to the visualization. And I do this. I'm like, we're going to keep it to half an hour. Could keep it to half an hour, but it just wouldn't be what it is, would it? So this will be around 10 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to say no longer than 10 minutes. I promise we're going to be all wrapped up by 9 o'clock. And I'm thinking, how do I record this? How do I record this? Let me just see if I could do it. I'm going to record it. Right, the reason I'm doing this is then if the connection isn't that great, you want to listen back to it or anything like that, you can always just pop me a message so you can have the audio. That happens a lot. People will say, oh my God, I just want the recording of the blah, blah, blah audio. And I'm like, if you go to 36 minutes in, however many, 41 minutes in, then you'll be able to listen back to it. It just doesn't quite hit the same. So let's get in a comfortable position. And let's go on just a sacred journey to really welcoming in this energy, not fearing it, not holding it back, going in with eyes wide open, with awareness, with self-awareness. You're already a million steps ahead with just knowing that and understanding it. And the key part for your nervous system is the embodying it, and which is why we're doing this. This is why we're going to do this part. So let me just pop this here so I can record it. So just getting yourself nice and comfortable. There we are. So nothing will ping. And okay, so just beginning to bring yourself into a comfortable position, whether you are seated or laid down. And if you haven't already, I'm just going to invite you to begin to bring your eyes to a gentle close. Bring your attention, your awareness to your breath. Taking some intentional long breaths in and even longer exhale out. See if you can really begin to empty all the air out. And again, in and a gentle exhale out. Good, just a few more of these whilst we really bring your nervous system into that beautiful rest and digest, the parasympathetic. And a really beautiful way to do this is by breathing in for around the count of 4, and on the exhale, exhaling for around the count of 6, a little bit longer on the exhale. Just relaxing the muscles around your eyes, your forehead, softening the shoulders, your arms, your hands. Taking your awareness down to the soles of your feet. And if you are listening to this on the day of the lunar new year, as we're stepping into this fire horse energy, or maybe you're listening to this after. This marks a potent time in our lives, a time for us to pause and reflect, to pause on the shedding that we have been through, and for some may even continue forward with. As the energy around us and within us begins to amplify and attune to the energy of the jewel fire, the fire horse. So as you begin to really draw your attention down to your feet, see if you can just anchor in. You might even imagine that you've got strong, thick, red, fiery roots coming out through the soles of your feet, beginning to bury deep down into the earth, anchoring you into this time, space, reality. That you are exactly where you're meant to be on this part of your journey. You haven't missed a turning. You haven't been misdirected. Now, that isn't to say that at times it doesn't feel like that. But how empowering might it be if you were to just breathe with me right now and trust that everything has guided you to this very moment. And there is so much power in the present moment. And an opportunity for you to carve one step at a time the path forward. And this isn't just about darting out of the start line. This is about saddling up. This is about trusting your intuition. Around really allowing that courage, that confidence that has been bubbling within you to surface. And really embodying that self-leadership. Trusting in your authentic light. And leading from that place. So I invite you now to imagine that you are standing in an open field at dusk. And the sky around you is warm, amber, deep reds and golds. The air, it feels alive. There is a sense of aliveness in the air around you. And in the near distance, you hear hooves, slow at first, beginning to gently pick up the pace, getting stronger, getting closer, and emerging from the horizon is the most divine, magnificent horse. And this horse is powerful, grounded, radiant. You get the instant sense of that coherence, energy emanating from its heart. And its coat carries the glow of fire. Not destructive fire, but warm, intelligent, ancient fire. And the horse gently approaches you now as it comes to a standstill. It stops in front of you. Its eyes are steady, beautiful, like a mirror, so present, so aware. Notice how you feel in your body. As you look into the mirror, the soul's mirror, the eyes of your horse. And now bring your awareness to your heart. And imagine your heart beginning to glow like a soft golden light, glowing, beginning to emanate now, like embers and sparks with every breath. And the horse's chest begins to glow too, as its heart also begins to glow the most beautiful colours, sparks of light. And you become aware that both of your hearts carry the most magnetic, electromagnetic fields, invisible to the naked eye, yet so powerful. You can physically feel it. Slowly, your heart's fields begin to overlap, blending, entwining, synchronizing. And as your heart steadies, the horse steadies. And as the horse's heart steadies, so does yours. As you regulate, you co-regulate. Notice how any fear begins to dissolve within this electromagnetic field of your hearts. Only truth begins to move through these frequencies. Courage, truth, and harmony. You can begin to ask yourself, or maybe the horse's wisdom supports you in this answer, as you ask, what do I need to know about my fire? Let a word, an image, a phrase, a sensation arise for you now. And again, let these words move through you. What must I discipline to hold my power this year? Now this might be in support of your word being your law, support you in holding your power this year. It might be something else. Let that arise, let that transmute through. Now feel as the horse begins to bow its head slightly. Not in submission to you, but more a recognition. As you are not here to be consumed by fire. You are here to breathe life into it. You are here to dance in the flames, to move with the flickers, and to nurture the embers. You just take a few more breaths now. And with the final long exhale, you feel, you sense the horse begin to turn, powerful and free. And it might be that it stays by your side, looking forward. That sense of almost like a spirit animal. It might be that the horse begins to run And you're in awe as you witness the power, the extension of your power and what you are awakening and activating in this energy, in this era now. Either way, the horse energy is going to support you in clearing the path. For you are ready. And you will know as that readiness begins to spark more of those embers within. It's okay to ask for support. It's okay to ask for guidance. It's okay to not have all the answers. And it's okay to trot or gallop or walk whilst others are running. Just take a breath, anchoring into this sense of stillness, calmness, trust within. And whenever you are ready, you can begin to bring your eyes open. Reorientate yourself back into the room. It might be that you have a sip of a drink. And this might be a really nice time for you to put pen to paper. Make note of anything that came through for you. Feeling ready for all that lies ahead. Okay, I'm just going to save this recording. And like I say, if you would like it, it's raw recording. If you are still here, well done. Fire horse. Oh, nope. Okay, I'm just going to give you a few minutes to just write down anything that's come through. Fire horse visualization. There we go. Okay. I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me just bring you back up on Facebook. And we are, okay, we are beginning to bring this to a close. Exactly 1 hour. I'm going to stop saying that we're ever going to do less, because who am I kidding? I hope that this has supported you in, this isn't just about getting clarity and setting goals, and this is embodiment. Anchoring in. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. And of course, if you are joining us on Saturday for the Awaken You, for the Vision Board workshop, we've got the Higher Self Circle on the evening. You can just come to one. You can just come to the day if you want to come to the day, or you can come to the day and the evening if you want the full shebang. But yeah, I just felt really called that it's such a significant energy, this is, given what we've been doing with the Going Rogue and just the light leader, light worker energy. So it's been an absolute honor to be with you here this evening. I can't wait to see lots of you on Saturday. Sam Powerful. Oh, I can't wait to see you on Saturday, my love. And yeah, feel free, if there is anyone that you think would benefit from this, welcome them into the group, give them a little welcome in here. I'm not the most active in talking about this and all the other things. It will land in and I'm like, yoo-hoo, here's what we're doing. It's like gone again in 24 hours. But the video will be available on replay. Facebook does that thing where it deletes everything after 30 days. So I will upload it onto YouTube. But yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. Paulina, hi. I can't believe it was a week ago today we were at the Clarity and Confidence. How mad is that? I was thinking about that this morning. And planes, trains and automobiles. Yeah, Sam, I'm so grateful for you. You literally just go above and beyond. You truly do. Nikki, hi. Sarah, Alicia, Sharon, Laura, Karen, Anne, everyone, sorry if I've not said your name. It is so good to see you here. And yeah, I look forward to, no doubt, seeing you very soon. So take care. Lots of love. Bye, bye, bye.